I do not like Fallout.
It's got to be Diablo 3.
Love 2, love Brotherhood, even Revelations was alright. And then Assassin's Creed 3 came around.
It's Dark Souls 1.
I don't think Uncharted's that good.
Oh!
There's something in the middle that I don't like as much, and that is Dark Souls 2, which I think is kind of stinky.
I think I do really quite hate Destiny, and that's a big thing for me, admitting that I hate something, and I need a minute to sort of let that sink in, but yeah.
I love a lot of terrible games, to be honest.
You are a Dynasty Warriors fan.
Look, right, okay, whoa. Oh, no, that's not.
What you were going to talk about?
I wasn't at all. So do not push my buttons on the Dynasty Warriors franchise because
I'm your buttons.
because this thing, Dynasty Warriors 3, IGN 8 out of 10. That's what it is. Top boy, 8 out of 10. Rest of the series, 8 out of 10. I always just told that. Some of them not so much. Anyway, not what we're talking about because we're talking about the best, worst game to ever exist, and that is Deadly Premonition. That is
a shout.
Fantastic. It is either a 1 out of 10 game or a 10 out of 10 game. There is nowhere in the middle for this. Like, you play it and you think to yourself, is this a joke? Mm-hmm. Is the developer, Swery, is he just poking you in the face and going, I'm making you play this to annoy you, or is it just an auteur bit of brilliance put to disc? I am of the latter because, like, the enemies facing backwards, they look stupid, they're slow, they try and force feed you like one of them, but they didn't actually mean to do that. So, but their moans are saying like, please, I don't want to die, and it's all meant to be this whole thing of like they don't actually want to do it and they're being forced by the spirits, and it's just like, that's a nice bit of storytelling. Stupid, but nice.
How much do you think it's the room of video games?
Oh, it's definitely the room of video games, but I think that Swery is aware that it's like that. I mean, he will lie to your face and tell you that it's not inspired by Twin Peaks. It bloody well is. It bloody well is. Reading stuff in the coffee, FK in the coffee, finding the squirrel key. Oh no, wait, that's the wrong key. You actually need a red bush American wingtails. It's like little bits like that make the game amazingly funny, and that's what keeps you playing. One of my favorite game mechanics in the game is also the worst thing you could possibly ever put into an action game that requires you to drive long distances. One, that your police officer guy sticks to the speed limit and he won't break it unless you put the siren on and it increases it by 5 miles an hour and you can run out of fuel. It is infuriating, and every time you drive, it's like, oh, just go through the radio stations to see what we've got. Oh, farming report, shipping report. Oh no, wait, we're going to listen to him talk about punk rock bands from the 1980s.
That's the best bit, to be honest. There's a full philosophical breakdown of Tom and Jerry. It's brilliant.
It's fantastic. I don't know why I love it, because on paper it should be something that sends me running in the opposite direction, but
Well, in cases like this, I mean, I played a lot of B, C tier stuff growing up, and I want to make a shout out to Bugs and Taz Time Busters on PS1. Yes! That's not what I'm going to talk about, but it is very good. I'm going to talk about Alpha Protocol, which was essentially Obsidian RPG chaps trying to do Mass Effect for spies, which was you design your character from the ground up, and you have all these different like character paths, the story paths that you can take, all these different dialogue options. It's essentially it's a fully fledged Mass Effect style RPG, but that translates into the way that you play. So you can go into missions like all guns blazing and try and take people on, like, I can't even think of any action-focused spies, Kingsman or something. Or you can be more stealthy and go in like Bond or like Bourne or whatever. And just, you had all these different character trees that played into that stuff. And it had such a great core idea. And I wish they would bring it back because the idea of like a spy RPG is just great. And the problem with Alpha Protocol was that they just didn't have enough time to finish it and polish it off properly. The aiming is like god-awful because it's all dice rolls, because it's all contingent on your stats and everything. And good luck playing that thing stealthily, and they put a bunch of bosses in there that are all finicky and the animation's not very good, so you're forever fighting it to have a remotely enjoyable time. But what is there is extremely good, and I hope that someday they'll do an Alpha Protocol too. It was in the like big showreel thingy that was on when Microsoft bought them. They did have it in their announcement thing, so I'm praying that someday we'll get to RPG spy again.
Do you know what? I'm going all in, spicy, relevant. It's a hot topic right now, but a game that's terrible that I really, 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 really like. Fallout 76.
Todd's not going to go on a date with you, Rich.
Who? What?
Todd. He's not going to go on a date with
Todd.
you.
I want to marry Todd. No. Okay, in the grand scheme of things, Fallout 76 is not a great game. No. I can appreciate that entirely. I think people who turn around and say they don't like it because of X, Y, and Z, I can understand that. It is, Fallout 4 stripped things away from Fallout 3 and New Vegas. We know that. And then 76 strips that away even more. It is very, very threadbare, and I completely appreciate that. It's not an RPG. It's just an online Fallout 4 experience. And I loved Fallout 4. I really, really like it. All the elements and stuff that are still in Fallout 76, I absolutely adored in Fallout 4. So being able to do that with your friends, for me, that was like, people were concerned about 76 after E3, about what they showed, how it actually worked. And some people were like, oh, I'm not sure about this. I was there going, oh my God, this is what I want out of a Fallout game. I know that makes me look very shallow, but playing 76, playing the beta, it was not great. It was very badly optimized. On release, it is a damn sight better. And this is someone from playing on PC, so I don't know what it's like on consoles. I've heard it's probably pretty bad. Yeah. On PC, for me, I've put stupid numbers of hours into it, and I've had it crash once, and then one bug that's it froze me in the animation of getting into power armor and had to restart the game. They're the only times in, I don't know how many hours played because it doesn't track it on the Bethesda launcher, but I've put a lot of time into it, and I'm really enjoying it. And I think there are people out there, I've seen people out there who will agree with me that it's not an absolute, not worth your time. It is for some people. I appreciate it's not for everyone, but it's nowhere near as bad as people are saying it is. Bethesda's corporate stuff, I won't ever defend that. That is a load of shit. The duffel kerfuffle.
What, a nylon bag?
Yeah, some people call it Baggate, and then somebody said it was called the duffel kerfuffle, which is amazing. Which apparently now they are sending out duffel bags to people who bought the special edition, which is it's really dumb on Bethesda's part. I won't defend them on that, but 76, it's not as bad as people think. I think in a bit of time, because Bethesda have laid out their roadmap, this is what we're doing. The first big update for it is today, the day we're filming this. And I think down the line it's going to be better for people. But I understand it's not for everyone, but I'm personally loving it. So.
Well, here's the thing. Do you love dinosaurs, Rich?
Duh.
Do you love Space Marines?
Sure.
Well, then you'll love Turok 2008, my friend, because what you did in that game, you were on a planet, you were a big, muscly Space Marine, and there were dinosaurs there, but also you had a bow and arrow, and you could shoot people to the wall, and that was... Okay, so there's dinosaurs, you can shoot people to the wall, the thing. The plot wasn't great, it was just an excuse to fight a lot of dinosaurs and fight a lot of dudes, but it was surprisingly, again, it was a game that introduced a lot of mechanics that would later be realized in far better games. It had the bow and arrow precursor to things like The Last of Us, Far Cry 3, that did it before all those games did, and it mixed stealth gameplay with really alright first-person shooter combat, but there was a variety there. The levels themselves were kind of open, you could kind of tackle them how you wanted. And it was that stealth sort of system that was really great, because you could, you were going around bushes, you were, like I said, hitting people with headshots from far away, and you could change your approach around. It was kind of like Crysis or something, just not on that level. And people didn't like it, but it had this one feature that I always remember blowing my mind back in the day, because this was 2008 when graphics were still, they were getting better, but it was sort of rudimentary. Your impact on the world wasn't all that great, but in this game, Rich, and I see your eyes starting to twinkle there, in this game you could push bushes. When you were crawling through in stealth mode, you weren't just phasing through the bushes, you were pushing them forward, as if you were a real person. And you know me, Rich, I love it when in first-person shooters you have legs, and this felt like you were occupying a real world. And for me, no matter how bad the story was, that's an immediate 10 out of 10. And in fact, it was the game of the year 2008. I remember it fondly. That's not true. I don't know what else came out that year, but it wasn't Turok 2008. But it was good, and I did like it.
You'd think I would say Colonial Marines at this point, but I'm not that much of a sick and twisted, depraved human. or whatever they call me when I say that it's not that bad. But the game that I actually genuinely love, that got a bunch of mixed reviews and didn't score very well on IGN or anything, was Bullet Witch. I thought it was great. I thought it was just good fun. It's literally, you play as like a titty lady roaming around with a giant gun, shooting people, doing magic, casting crows at people. Like, you're Mrs. Alicia and you're out for some magical fun. Like, it's just good. Like, magic and shooting. It's one of the games that actually stuck with me as terrifying me when I was younger. When you're in the this like underground bit where there's the whole tube settings, there's these monsters that like open up and have claws coming out of them, and it just absolutely stuck with me and scarred me, and I had nightmares about it for weeks, about these people's stomachs eating me, and I just thought it was fantastic. I love a good old wangle with the gun rod and all that sort of thing. Like, magic ammunition, it's just good. It's just a good game. It's just good fun. It's a nice little world to inhabit, and all the environmental things that you can do and like actually destroy the world you're in, like we're playing with magic and stuff. Like, I am just rambling about magic. I like magic. I like this game. And I like the magic guns. This is what Fallout should be, reference to last week. Fallout should be this, magic and guns.
I honestly thought you were going to say Evolve.
Oh no, well of course I love Evolve. No. You know, I think my taste in games is bad. So it could have been Evolve, it could have been Colonial Marines, it could have been any number of terrible, terrible things that I shouldn't speak about, but no, Bullet Witch.
Okay, so previously on WhatCulture Gaming Chatty Faces, you will have heard one Jules Gill pooping on a rather unloved installment in one of my favourite game franchises of all time, and that is Dark Souls II. However, I'm gonna say the terrible version. I'm gonna go one step further and say that I don't only love Dark Souls 2, I love the vanilla version of Dark Souls 2, and here is why. So basically what they did, for those that don't know, is so Dark Souls 2 did have a different sort of development team. I believe it was the story director that sort of stepped down after 1. So 2 has a completely different sort of feel to it. There's a lot of different mechanics. They changed healing, that was definitely a choice to change that. They changed hollowing, which was not great either, but I do love it, right? Hear me out. It was great. I love it. They had so many good ideas, like for example, changing humanity into human effigies. That was a really good idea. Lowering your health to punish you after each death was a good idea. It was bloody like punishing and kind of annoying, but it was a really good idea, and it is a really good game. The environments, this is a positive and a negative. The range of environments, 1 minute you can be in like a poison swamp, and the next you're in frickin' Bowser's castle. You just sort of go up a lift and suddenly you're in a lava world. It doesn't make a lot of sense. The world is not very connected, but like there's so many different colors and nice places to explore and all the treasure, and just like Dark Souls 2 has, in my opinion, the best sort of magic options as well. It was when they first introduced like proper hexes. There were hexes in Dark Souls 1, but they were really cool in Dark Souls 2, especially in vanilla. That all changed though very quickly. That got nerfed. But this is basically just me sitting here nerding out about Dark Souls because 2 is not a good game. It's really not. It's pretty terrible. And I agreed with all of Jules's points. Rolling is bull. Adaptability is bull. You have to level up if you want to dodge things. I know. So it's not a great game, but it is, however, a Dark Souls game. So I love it.
Yeah, so this is actually a very thematically fitting one, because it's actually the game that got me writing for this place in the first place, and that is Batman Arkham Origins, because Batman Arkham Origins is not only the best Arkham game, yeah, I'm going for it right now. It is a fantastic superhero game. It has the best story out of all the Arkham titles. And I still don't understand why it was, I guess I understand, because people were there like, oh, it's not Rocksteady, oh, I hate it so much. Nah, get lost with that crap. It innovated in so many areas. You had the innovation of detective mode, like Montreal actually did something with it rather than it being a vision thing that you see everything with. They actually nerfed it, and then you had all the crime scene investigation stuff, which admittedly, you know, could have been fleshed out further, but I think narratively, one of the best retellings of Batman's early years. You know, Troy Baker is fantastic as the Joker. Same say what you will about the twist and all that. But yeah, really, really unfortunate game, because I think in a few years' time, I'm sure it'll be reappraised as one of the better Ark entries in the Arkham series. But I think when that game came out, people were just too unwilling to, just approach it from a fresh angle, because Rocksteady had done so much good with Arkham Asylum and Arkham City that by the time another developer was let in to play with their toys, people got very defensive and protective over it, and I still don't quite understand that when the story was so good.
Even
so
Rocksteady
good.
now don't acknowledge that Origins even happened.
Yeah,
It's not even in the
why was it not in the
credits.
remaster? The
don't
Arkham
know.
remaster, what was it? I mean, the remaster wasn't really a remaster because it was pretty have you seen Joker? Have you seen him? He looks bad. He looks like something out of Madame Tussauds, but I mean,
Origins is good though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Arkham Origins, not a bad game. Great game. I'm gonna hire a bodyguard now and just slink out here.